the collaborate, finding creativity from your brand and this creative collaboration is so key. And I feel like this is probably where our chats have really, well, definitely really helped me every week, because it's just having that other person there to bounce ideas off and just get an idea as to your direction, what you want. And it's really hard to do that alone. So I think when we were talking last week, we were talking about um both of us feeling a bit of a pull to up level our brand or just evolve it. And I think especially when you're a creative, that can feel really tricky because you've got so many ideas and it's
And
really hard to
opinion.
actually, and opinions, exactly. And it's really hard to rein it in. So I think our conversation, we're talking about how do you move your brand forward and make it feel like current and relevant, and so you're excited about it, it feels fresh, but then you don't lose a sense of who you are and your identity, and that can be a really tricky balance. So we just thought that was a conversation that rather than having behind the scenes, we can have, and everyone can benefit from it, because I think we're all in the same boat, right? We all want to stay relevant and keep our brand looking really fresh, and make sure it evolves, but with intention, and we
Right.
know what we're doing.
And it started because we tend to go off topic sometimes.
Tangents.
But it all started with both of us saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm so tired of seeing this. I'm so tired of seeing this," and we're not
Yeah,
going to mention what it is we're seeing and what we're tired of because we
yeah,
both like to keep it positive. But what I think is really important, and I know we both believe in, is that you have to be very tapped into who you are and what resonates with you and what you feel good about, and aligning that with your creativity. So
yeah,
it's strategic and creative aligned together, because if you have one
yeah,
without the other, that's when you start veering off, and it's really
yeah,
easy to
totally.
veer off when there's such an influx of creativity and ideas and
Yeah,
the way people do things on Instagram, on Pinterest, on anything that you look at. It's very
yeah,
easy to get overwhelmed and dive into a creative path that is not really, and I guess, well, you tell me how you do it, because I think I see a lot of people just veering off into what everybody else does. And to
yeah,
me, that means that they don't have 2 feet super solid in what they do. But that to me also does not mean that you can't try new things.
yeah, exactly. But I think that's where the nuance comes in, and why it can feel tricky is because it is getting that balance. And I've definitely fallen into that trap of
Me too.
suddenly wanting to evolve, wanting to change things. And also, let's face it, we're under pressure to get content out there, marketing, self-promote. It's every day we feel that pressure to actually show up and put things out there. So I think it's just getting that balance between, like, planning ahead so you can really actually make strong creative decisions, rather than being like, oh, it doesn't look right, I want it to look better. So you kind of make decisions from that need for it to look better, rather than knowing actually what it is you are trying to say. And to not to make this like sound too sort of complicated, or something that feels a bit too like lofty, but your visuals are your positioning, right? So they immediately give cues to your audience as to your energy, what you're about, and how it makes you different. And that comes from knowing yourself and your approach, um, and then knowing visually how to represent that. So you have a basis for making all your decisions, rather than just being like, oh my God, I really love that. And you grab it and you take elements of it and then you put some content out, and then you go, oh, but I really like that. And then you do it again. And before you know it, you've got a mishmash of styles and things in your brand, and then it's very hard to rein it back in and think, oh, actually, which elements do I want to keep, which are me, and which, where have I gone off track?
Yeah.
So it is, first of all, I'd always say about coming back to that sense of identity, for
Yeah.
sure. Who are you? What is it you're trying to say? But more than that, go deeper. So a lot of people have keywords which are helpful,
I'm big
but
on that. I
yeah,
push that a lot. Yeah.
that's really good. But I find that sometimes if you don't define that, so for example, if you love bold, okay, I mean I could say this. If your one of your keywords is bold, that's great, but what does it mean
Right.
for your business?
Right.
And that's often the missing step because you haven't defined it. Therefore, having a keyword as bold is not really going to rein in your decisions because so many things can be bold.
Yeah.
So,
It's like with me, I see a lot of fun. So
yeah.
fun.
Oh,
But
with
what
the
is fun?
photographers. Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
that's a lot. That's all so comes a lot with messaging and how you message because you have to explain it. But messaging and visuals, they're married
yeah,
together. So one is not exclusive of the other. But
yeah,
I see that a lot with the word fun. I mean, for my brand, fun is like running through the water in a gorgeous dress, getting it wet and being barefoot. That's not everyone's idea of fun, you know.
yeah, yeah.
But
But I think that's where the discovery comes in, right?
yeah.
So um it's that next level because fun actually isn't really a differentiator, right?
No.
Everybody wants to have fun on their photo shoot. Everyone wants to be the photographer who people love to work with. But what's the edge? What are we saying here? So when you're saying about like running through the water and there's all that freedom
Right.
and the creativity that comes off that. The images that you photograph are so much more high end and dynamic because of that experience. So
The
it,
interesting thing is getting back to where you pull yours from visual because you're a designer. I mean, you started as a designer.
yeah,
I come from from a slightly different perspective. I am all about the feels.
yeah,
I am like I wear my heart on my sleeve. It's all
yeah,
about the emotion. So for me, if I'm not feeling it, then
yeah.
I just I've been going through this for like the past month or so because
Mm,
I got this whole conversation really originated because both Helen and I started feeling a little bit I don't
meh.
know, stuck is another one of those words that is stuck.
Yeah,
But I was putting things out there that just the energy wasn't there. I didn't like the way that it looked.
mm,
And for me, so anyway, getting it's it's a feel for me. Like if it doesn't
yeah,
resonate, if it doesn't bring me joy, then I truly believe that that energy is not going to go by.
yeah,
And that's a hard thing to nail down when you start talking about where you find your creativity and where you find your brand identity. And it is hard to do by yourself.
yeah. It is because often, well, you think about things in a certain way or you have a preconceived idea. And a lot of the time, you can't see what's in front of you, can you? Unless someone reflects it back. Like similar to the work that you do with your photographers, you'd help them see the style that they really love and how potentially they've gone off track because they've been told to shoot a certain way or they think they should shoot a certain way. And that can be applied to so many things, like we were saying about how you put your content out there and
Mm-hmm.
how what your hooks sound like and how you start speaking to your audience. Everything can become skewed because we're taking bits from like influence from other people, which is fine and necessary, but I think it's a constant course correct,
It is,
which
yeah,
means a bit of reflection, a bit of like, weekly thinking, okay, what's working, what's not, where am I heading? And just those check-ins, which I feel like is what we get when we chat together. It's a really nice way of just like downloading the week and then
yeah,
yeah, just having each other to bounce off. So I'd say it's key because it's difficult. You're doing it for yourself as well.
yeah,
I don't know about you, but I'm like at home alone most of the day. The only like interaction I get, obviously, like client calls or it might be school
yeah.
run, and that's it. So I'm just left to my own thoughts and devices, and that's not always that's not always
Which makes it
helpful.
a natural that you're going to go online, you're going to start scrolling and looking for inspiration
Totally. Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, so let's wrap it up soon. But
I've got a school
all
run
right,
to do.
so name some things where you go and find your creativity, and then how you tap into that.
Ooh, okay. What I've been trying to do more of is actually get off Pinterest
Mm-hmm.
and not stay in the Instagram loop as much. So I've been I joined a trends group recently, which is really good for giving you like cultural references of what's happening and it's being able to look around you, right? So maybe it's an exhibition that I might go to,
Mm-hmm.
or old school. I love going into a bookshop
Yeah.
and then just like pulling out some books and sitting. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't always get that time. Um, but then also other sites that are more like creative inspiration. So Dribble's pretty good.
I miss
Sites,
Tumblr
yeah, it's that kind of thing, right? But that's why Tumblr was so good because it was
because
so like raw, and everyone
yeah,
chucked their ideas in there,
yeah,
and
there
it would
was
just,
no, you know, oh, now we're really showing.
yeah, showing the age.
But yeah,
Um,
no, but yeah, I'm with you. I like to go out and go for a run,
yeah,
for a walk. And getting outside is huge. Going down to the beach is huge for me
yeah,
because I'm telling you, the minute I step out the door is the minute like all the wheels start turning.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm the same.
That's so true.
I have pulled away from Instagram and all the other feeds quite
Yeah,
a bit.
yeah,
Um, Going to exhibitions and stuff, and again talking with other creatives, like
yeah, yeah.
that that's huge, just to get your ideas out there. And
I think just understanding, tell you what actually has made the biggest difference for being able to make confident decisions is actually understanding what you like and why.
yeah,
So I like to like decode things, and actually Chat GTP is pretty good for this. So if you put an image in there and like get it to reflect the style back, what are the visual what's the language, what's it saying visually, and it'll just help you kind of understand why you like something, what kind of feeling it gives to you. And I think that's a constant like practice or something I love to do.
which is why I love our Friday morning sessions, because
Yeah,
both you and I coach very similarly. We both are not big believers in like cookie cutter, this is a process, this is a formula.
yeah,
We're much more questions. Like we start off with, well, how does this make you feel?
yeah,
Why do you feel? Why are you doing it this way? What is it that you like? Like that, asking questions to me is the single best way to
yeah,
really hone in. And that's what I do with clients all the time. And I know you do too,
yeah,
is just we use it on each other. But
yeah.
is the question,
You're really good at
oh,
that. You often pick me up on things where you'll just reflect it
but
back and go,
the
but
thing
why?
is when you have somebody from the outside asking,
Yeah,
it's different because
yeah,
they have a fresh set of eyes, a fresh perspective. I'm coming at from a photographer's standpoint. You're coming from it
yeah,
at a designer's perspective, and it's totally different. I mean, you did the
yeah,
same when I was telling you how much I hated my coaching feed and the way it
yeah,
looked,
yeah,
you know. And I put some
yeah,
stuff together what I really loved. And you're like, well, that's why you like that. That's and it's
yeah. I
but
think,
it's having that first perspective. But honestly, that is a great way of getting creative, not doing what is right by you, by
mm,
right by your brand identity. I think we both agree
yeah,
that you have to have that identity solid, locked in
yeah,
place. Like that's number one.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then when it comes to staying creative, I swear it's the questions that you get from the outside that are really helpful to hone in on why you like certain things and that type of
yeah.
direction.
And what it is that you're really trying to say, like a lot of the time when I speak to clients, I mean, they'll have a list of things, and this is true for, us as we would say this as well. you want to say all these things, but actually that's not going to land. So when you get somebody else to reflect it back to you and go, this is what you're actually saying,
Right.
and they go, oh yes, that
Oh,
is
that's
it.
exactly what I wanted to
Yeah,
say.
exactly right. And then so the clarity's there, and then it's like, and how do you represent that visually?
Right.
Because when you've got that clarity, then you can immediately think, oh, okay, this is like um immediately evokes like bright colors, or it's soft and ethereal, and it makes sense. Then you're making decisions, like we said, intentionally. And I think the biggest thing that I see with clients is that they are often just at the mercy of whim all the
Right.
time, unless you have it dialed, unless you have that real sense of connection to, I know this is why it would be on brand or not on brand, and I'm not going to touch that. As much as I love the style, I'm not going there because it's just not me, so I can leave it. Where versus that, when you feel bombarded with like, oh, but I love this and I love that,
Well,
and
and that's easy to do as a creative. That's normal.
yeah, well,
But
of course, you're going to change your mind
yeah,
daily, because that's how fickle we are. Like that. That's human nature.
yeah, that's
So you've got to have that.
interesting because was on a creative collaboration call with a a wedding photographer,
Yeah,
and she wasn't shooting what she wanted, which happens so much with the
yeah,
photographers I work. They want to shoot something completely different than what they're shooting, but they're shooting what they are because they think that's the only way they're going to get paid.
right.
That's what people. So I was on a call. We were collaborating on her mood board, and we had done a brainstorming session, and she was pulling stuff together. And so I started saying, and like you said, it was kind of all over the map.
Yeah,
And so I said, finally, just choose three things that you absolutely love on this, because what you're
yeah,
telling me you want to do and what's on here is completely different.
yeah,
And she picked out a few of the images, and I'm like, that's what you're telling me you want to do. So why
yeah,
did you pull all this other stuff in? But it's the clarity, it's
yeah,
the
totally.
clarity.
But that you being able to, and this is a great thing about like creative thinkers, is being able to spot the patterns and spot, not spat, spot the similarities between what's there. Because I'll get references from clients, and it'll just be like one's, really bright, really young pastels, and the other one will be kind of deep and moody or whatever. It will just be a massive mix of everything in one mood board. And at first glance, you think, like, there's no consistency here. But actually, when you start looking at it, you can start to take certain elements and think, well, actually, this is the commonality. So, exactly the same that you do with your photographer. So pulling out certain elements and then knowing what the thread is, what pulls that together, gives
Yeah.
you so much like freedom and confidence to then start creating on your own terms and doing it your way. Because why do you think so many photographers don't shoot in the way that they want to?
Um, well, one, there's a fear that they're not going to get paid,
And what,
you know,
because it's
because
not
it's
what staged
what
or,
they want to follow, what they has been proven to sell.
yeah, yeah,
But to me, eventually that's going to go down a dead end road because you're
yeah,
not, again, I'm going back all to the emotions. You're not shooting from the heart. You're not doing what
yeah,
truly lights you up. So at some point, you're going to either resent what you're doing, you're not going to get paid what the value of what you're shooting,
yeah,
you're not going to lean into how valuable the experience are that you're giving. Like there are
mm,
so many symptoms of not shooting what your heart really desires. And
yeah,
I'm sure that happens with designers too. They're designing things because that's what the trends are saying,
yeah. Yeah. Or that's the projects that they see out there. So they feel like, oh, they should create, I don't know, a drinks brand or something just for their portfolio. And actually, they don't want to work with any um, consumer goods companies. So it's just getting that sense of, yeah, grounding what you're building and what you're working towards. But I say as well, as a photographer, and like this applies to any business, there's no reason to choose you if you're not tapping into that creative edge of what makes your eye so valuable behind that camera. right, what is the reason to choose you? And it will come down to price, right? And then you are lowballing and
Well, it becomes, I just posted something like this past week. It becomes transactional. You
yeah,
become a
completely.
transaction rather than
Yeah.
like that photographer, that designer belongs to me.
Sought after.
That is the person I need.
So, would you want, you want to be the photographer who is saved on somebody's mood board, a year in advance before they're actually getting there, because that is the aspirational, right? I know it's like choosing wedding photographer. I'm not getting married anytime soon, but I have like two that I would go to because I've seen their work. It is so incredible. I love the way they move around an event and capture things in a certain way. And I'm just, I'll just like pin it because I think, yes, they're the people, that's the person that I want. And that's the effect. So would you rather be, you want to be chosen rather than just be, okay, they're an okay price, they're available, and they're
Let's just
local.
check it off the list. It's something I have to do.
Yeah. You're not,
I have to get a rebrand. I have to get my typography in
yeah,
place. Let's just,
you're not
get
going to
somebody to up.
you're not going to get those exciting clients. And it is a catch 22 because then you get the people that are price conscious that just want probably just the standard thing. And then that's going to keep you trapped creatively because you're not going to be able to shoot in the way that you want or, create in the way that you want. And then the cycle continues. So at some point, you have to decide yourself as a creative what you are building and what you're going to represent and how you're going to develop that creative style and edge because that is your biggest power.
That's the
And
foundations of being a brand,
right,
right there.
right,
Like if
right.
you're not setting the foundations, then the creativity is never going to align.
It's a business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right,
And
right.
I think you do get to that juncture where you make the choice, are you running a business or do you want to become a brand?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to become that sought after yeah, effect? So that is what I'd say. I can't remember if you asked me a question
I
before.
don't know, but we have to
No.
end it because you have to go get your
Yeah,
kids.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. So let me document the fact that I missed school pickup live on
That's so
Instagram.
true. Um,
All right.
okay, this is so fun. I'll see
Yeah.
you Friday.
Yeah, see you
Private
Friday.
and
Yeah.
private.
Yeah.
All right.
All
I
right.
hope everybody got something valuable out of this
Yeah.
because it's always fun talking
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. All right.
Okay,
Have a good
bye.
day. See you later.